Big, blue, full of angry people. Keep looking, you'll find it.
My God.
The story unfolds in a near future where Earth faces a crisis that feels less like a political problem and more like an approaching extinction. Energy resources have collapsed to the point that nations are no longer arguing about economics but survival. Cities experience rolling blackouts, food production slows, and governments quietly prepare for the possibility that civilization may not last another generation. Instead of war being the greatest threat, scarcity becomes the true enemy. Scientists propose an experimental solution, a massive particle accelerator placed in orbit around the planet, designed to produce unlimited clean energy. The mission is presented publicly as humanity's final hope. But privately, even its creators fear they are stepping into unknown territory. A small international crew lives aboard the space station tasked with activating the accelerator. Months turn into years as repeated attempts fail. Supplies dwindle, patience erodes, and relationships strain under isolation. Each astronaut carries the pressure not just of scientific responsibility, but of knowing billions of lives depend on a successful test. Communication delays and conflicting orders from Earth worsen tension, and personal beliefs begin to clash with professional duty. Some view the project as salvation, others suspect humanity is trying to force nature into submission without understanding the consequences. The station's commander tries to maintain discipline, reminding everyone that desperation cannot replace caution. Yet desperation slowly becomes unavoidable. With Earth's condition worsening, political leaders push for another activation despite incomplete safety calculations. The crew debates whether refusing orders would protect humanity or condemn it. Eventually, hope outweighs fear, and they prepare the machine once more. The activation begins as a routine procedure. But the moment the accelerator reaches peak power, reality itself seems to tear open. A violent surge shakes the station. Lights burst, gravity fluctuates, and systems fail in ways no physics model predicted. When stability returns, the crew discovers Earth has vanished from view. Not destroyed, not hidden by equipment malfunction, simply gone. The starfield outside the windows is unfamiliar, and communication channels return only silence. Panic spreads quickly because space suddenly feels less like a frontier and more like a void detached from their existence. As they attempt to assess damage, impossible phenomena begin occurring. A crew member trapped behind a wall appears fused into its structure as if matter forgot its boundaries. Objects drift into existence where empty air had been seconds before. The station itself seems rearranged, corridors subtly different from their memory. Science no longer explains events. It struggles to describe them. The accelerator did not merely produce energy, it displaced them into a reality operating under altered physical rules. Soon they encounter a woman who materializes inside the station's interior compartments. She claims the station belongs to her crew and insists the current astronauts are intruders. According to her memories, she launched with a different team under similar circumstances. Both groups realize the same experiment occurred in parallel worlds, and the accelerator forced the universes to overlap. Two histories now occupy one space, and they cannot coexist without consequences. The crew debates whether returning home is even possible. If their Earth still exists, it may be unreachable through normal navigation. Calculations suggest the machine that displaced them might also return them, but repeating the experiment risks deeper damage to reality. Meanwhile, increasingly dangerous anomalies appear, tools moving on their own, equipment functioning before activation, and messages appearing in systems disconnected from power. The station behaves less like machinery and more like a living organism trying to reconcile conflicting versions of existence. On Earth, scattered glimpses reveal chaos following the experiment's activation. Strange creatures appear in distant cities and unexplained disasters ripple across continents. Some believe these are hallucinations caused by panic, while others suspect dimensions have collided. Humanity faces a threat not from invasion but from overlap, fragments of other realities intruding into their own. The astronauts realize their attempt to save Earth may have exposed it to forces beyond comprehension inside the station. Trust deteriorates. If multiple realities now intersect, any crew member's memory could belong to another timeline. Motivations become uncertain. Personal histories no longer feel reliable. The woman from the alternate station insists that in her universe, the experiment succeeded and Earth was saved, but her crew never encountered strangers. This revelation terrifies them. Both versions cannot be true simultaneously, meaning one reality must eventually collapse or be replaced. Attempts to repair systems uncover impossible objects embedded within the station, components from technology never invented in their timeline. The accelerator did not simply move them. It merged possibilities. The more they analyze, the clearer it becomes that the laws of cause and effect are unraveling. Events occur before triggers, outcomes exist before decisions. The universe resists duplication, and the resistance manifests as increasingly violent distortions. The psychological toll grows heavier than the physical danger. Isolation is no longer the primary fear. Uncertainty about existence itself becomes overwhelming. One astronaut becomes convinced they are already dead, interpreting anomalies as proof the station is a liminal space between realities. Another believes completing the experiment again will stabilize everything, clinging to logic even as logic fails. Conflicts escalate, reflecting humanity's instinct to seek order even when confronted with incomprehensible change. Communication with Earth briefly returns, but the message is fragmented and desperate. Military forces report attacks from entities appearing without warning, suggesting the dimensional breach opened pathways rather than a single displacement. The crew now understands their situation affects far more than their survival. They must choose between risking further catastrophe or accepting permanent exile. While Earth suffers consequences they caused, they prepare the accelerator for a controlled activation, modifying it to target their original coordinates. During preparations, anomalies intensify as if the universe itself reacts to their intention. The alternate crew member warns that forcing separation may erase one reality entirely. The moral dilemma becomes clear. Returning home might mean destroying another world identical to their own. Survival demands sacrifice, but deciding whose existence matters more proves unbearable. As tensions peak, betrayal emerges from fear rather than malice. One astronaut sabotages systems to prevent another activation, believing preserving multiple realities is less harmful than collapsing them. Another counters that continued overlap will annihilate both worlds eventually. The debate mirrors humanity's broader struggle, whether survival justifies irreversible action. In space, philosophy becomes life or death. A catastrophic malfunction forces immediate decision. The station destabilizes, pulled between coordinates like an object claimed by opposing forces. They initiate the sequence despite incomplete calculations, accepting uncertainty over paralysis. The activation unleashes a blinding surge similar to the first but sharper, more violent as though reality resists being divided again. Silence follows. Systems stabilize. Earth reappears through the viewing windows, scarred but present. Communications confirm partial restoration, though reports mention massive destruction and unexplained sightings worldwide. The astronauts realize they succeeded in returning but failed to undo all consequences. The breach left permanent marks on existence. The station begins re-entry preparations. Yet one final transmission from deep space suggests the dimensional boundary remains weakened. Something enormous moves within the clouds of Earth's atmosphere, larger than any known life form. The crew understands their experiment did not simply create a disaster. It revealed a universe far more crowded than humanity imagined. Their relief is complicated by guilt. They saved billions from energy collapse, but exposed them to cosmic danger. The mission designed to secure the future instead expanded it into uncertainty. The commander reflects that human progress often comes from crossing boundaries without understanding them, and survival may depend not on avoiding risk but learning from irreversible mistakes. As they descend toward the planet, each astronaut carries a different interpretation of what occurred, a scientific breakthrough, a warning against arrogance, or proof that reality is more fragile than believed. None feel like heroes. They feel like witnesses to a truth humanity was never meant to discover all at once. The story closes with Earth illuminated beneath them, beautiful yet changed. The stars look the same, but they now know identical skies may exist infinitely across realities, each capable of colliding with another. Their experiments solved the energy crisis but introduced a greater mystery that existence itself may be layered, unstable, and responsive to human curiosity. The future will no longer be defined solely by technology or politics, but by how humanity faces the knowledge that it is not alone even within its own universe.